Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be looking at a really cool tube light, and that's a tube light from Neewer, and it's the TL120C, and that's a 42 watt tube light. So it's one of the longer tube lights. I know a lot of the times you get them smaller and you can kind of screw them together to make longer ones. This is fixed, it's long, it's 127 centimeters. But it does come with a pretty cool carry bag. It's not a hard case, so yeah, you still probably need to be careful when you're storing this. It comes basically with a bag, zips into it, pretty secure in there, and then all the accessories that come with it are included. And what you get with this is you get a power supply and you get two little clips, and these are little plastic clips that you can clip onto any point of the light to help you mount it or rig it in some of the scenario. There is a thread on the bottom of this light, but then you do get these two clips included that you can use to secure it wherever you want along the tube light itself. Now I'm just going to talk about the features of the light before I go into what I think of it. So yeah, this is a full RGB light, meaning that you can get all the colors you want, all the effects you want. Now I do feel like there's a lot more preset effects built into this. I think because the light itself isn't limited to one color at a time, you can have multiple colors going up the tube, which is great because that means that when it comes to effects like fireworks, for instance, you're going to have those colors blending into each other a lot smoother because you can have multiple colors on the light at the same time. So there's multiple ways to control this light. First up, you've got the control panel on the back of the light with a little dial and some buttons. Second up, you've got the app itself. You can control this light in the Neewer app. So if you've got multiple lights from that same brand, you can control them all via the app. And third and final, you can control it via DMX, which makes this light feel a little bit more higher end because you can control it with these more professional panels. You can also loop in and out of this light. If you've got multiple lights, you can connect them all together via the ports on the top and you can control them all at the same time. So yeah, if you've got all of these lined up, let's say you've got them all rigged above or you've got them positioned all over the shot, you can connect them all together and control them at the same time, which makes them feel like they're designed for that higher end studio shooting. Now the light is made out of plastic, it's not metal, but then if you look at what's comparable to this at the higher end, they're very, very expensive. You know, you can get into the thousands of pounds for lights that are comparable to this in size. So this light is on the budget end in terms of cost, even though that cost is a little bit higher, around $300. It does go on sale. But yeah, it's when you compare it to, you know, the more higher end studio tube lights, it is cost effective. Now this light also does come with a built-in battery, so you are going to be able to power it from the light itself. Now this light also meshes with the other Neewer lights that are mesh capable, so that's going to come in really handy if you're trying to control them all at the same time and run multiple effects. So yeah, mesh compatible with other Neewer lights. So now what do I think of the light from using it over the past month? I'm a big fan of it. I like it a lot. This is my first tube light. So I've used tube lights in the past. I've used them on set, used them in a car advert once just to put in the background, they weren't so much lighting up the subject, it just made the background a little bit more interesting. So yeah, this is the first tube light that I've owned. I like the versatility of being able to use the light as you would use it, any other film light, you know, lighting a subject, lighting a background, but also I like that it could be used as a practical light. Because the light is so compact and because it's got that battery input, you could put this light under a bed, you could put it on top of a cabinet or something like that. I felt like the light could be used in a lot of different scenarios. Now I'm shooting my first feature film next month. We're shooting for 2 weeks. Now make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content on that because there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes content coming from it, me using a lot of this kit in an actual film environment. So I felt like this light would get a lot of use. Because of the RGB, and I'm shooting a horror film, I felt like this light would be really versatile, you know, for all those different colors, all the different effects. But then also you can use this light like any other light, and it's got such a nice kind of soft glow to it that I find it's really good for lighting interviews and stuff like that. You can use this light as your key light and it gives that really soft light. I also love that I've been able to like mount it above. Get a C-stand, a couple of C-stands would probably be better, and you can rig this with a little plastic clips that come with it, a couple of safety cables. You know, you can rig this above quite easily because the light is under 4 kilograms. It's not very heavy. Another way that I've been rigging it is essentially just stacking it alongside one of my normal stands, and I'll put my little thread coming out of it horizontally, put a clip on this, and I'll just essentially stack the light alongside it. You can get stands for this on the Neewer website, some big, pretty heavy duty stands that look like you can just use those to mount it by itself. I don't have those, don't have anything that big. So yeah, that's how I've been mounting it. I probably would like to try that, although it still does, I mean, I don't know, I haven't used the stands, but I would worry that it could tip over, but maybe not. The stands do look pretty big, pretty wide. So yeah, I'd love to give those a try. Because of how big it is though, it's not going to be something that I'm going to be able to take on all of my shoots. You know, this is probably going to be used on shoots that I get to drive to. If I'm having to jump on a train or some kind of mode of transport like that, probably not going to take this light just because of how big it is. Now I could have gone for one of Neewer's smaller options, but I just like this one. I really like how big it is. That's one of the things that attracted me to it. Another thing I love is just the control of this light. The fact you can control it in the app, but you can also control it on the back. And I feel like the controls on the back are good enough that, you know, it's not fiddly. Sometimes with lights, they just, I don't know what it is with some lights, how they set up the dial and stuff, but it just feels like they're not maximizing how the light can be controlled. With this, the controls on the back are actually really intuitive. I like that. But then also, if I just want to jump on the app, I can do that. If the light, for instance, is rigged above, I'm not going to be able to control it from the back. So having the app functionality, that's great. I probably won't get a lot of use out of the DMX control, but if I'm ever in that environment and we have that system set up, it's really good that this light will work with that functionality. Big fan of this light so far. I'm definitely going to be using it more on the feature, so yeah, subscribe for that. But what about you? You using this light? What tube lights do you guys use? Do you use tube lights or no? I'd love to know what ones you recommend, stuff like that. Maybe I can check them out. What do you think of the tube light craze? I feel like tube lights kind of just blew up over the past few years. I've always had one lights, but they're not quite tube lights, I don't think I like. But one lights were big, like almost 10 years ago now. I remember taking my first one light on a shoot and someone was like, what is that? It's like a lightsaber. But yeah, they ended up being really practical lights, so got a lot of use out of them. And now we're on to tube lights. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.